Have you ever seen a cute, mostly white, cream or yellow offset and thought it would be a good idea to propagate it? Well, I have and did and failed many times over, but have learned a few interesting things about trying to grow fully or mostly albino plants. For those of you looking for a quick answer, propagating albino offsets or branches is likely not going to work out, though some succulent species or cultivars have better success rate than others. In general, it is best to leave albino offsets attached to the mother plant. If you'd like to stick around for a more detailed answer, I will first explain what are albino succulents, why they usually have trouble surviving on their own, and then we'll look into which succulents tend to survive and how to look after them. In nature, albinism occurs in animals, including humans as well as plants. Albino plants and animals are missing pigment and have white characteristics. Wild albino animals tend to survive, though they tend to have health issues such as poor eyesight, but albinism in plants is often a death sentence. This is due to the missing pigment being chlorophyll. Without chlorophyll, plants are not able to perform photosynthesis and convert light into growing energy. Albinism in succulents most often, but not always, appears on variegated plants and looks white, cream or yellow, sometimes with a hint of pink. While variegated plants have chlorophyll in the green parts, the albinos seem to be missing them completely. Albinism and variegations are a mutation that mostly occur due to genetic defects. Plants get their growing energy from light. The chemical process called photosynthesis occurs in plant leaves where a green pigment chlorophyll converts light to energy for growing. If either the light or chlorophyll disappear, the plant will most likely not survive. If you've ever grown white or creamy variegated plants, you may have noticed they can be a bit harder to accommodate than their green counterparts. They can be slower to grow and more sensitive to being exposed to direct sun, especially during hot summer days. In some cases, the chlorophyll-deprived parts will die off or suffer burn marks as they have trouble processing sunlight. This variegated calico produced two nearly albino branches. Both are struggling a bit in the sun, but the mostly green branch is okay. Succulents with albinism that have absolutely no chlorophyll in them will probably die on their own, especially if they have no roots and are taken as a cutting from the mother plant. These two albino branches grew out of a variegated Crasula samentosa. After I've cut off the variegated branch, the albino started dying. This plant also has roots, but is still somehow not able to survive. Although I'm inclined not to recommend trying to grow any succulent that is mostly white or fully albino on its own, there are succulent cultivars that I have had success raising. I have had more success with different Haworthia, Gasteria, Aloe and Agave cultivars. Having said that, I have also had many deaths from the same plants. In fact, it was mainly deaths. Albino and mostly white, cream or yellow succulents are just best of left on the mother plant that will provide all the growing energy. This way you will still be able to enjoy the unusual albino, it will just be attached to another plant. Another way to get albino plants to survive is to graft them. The best example of this are grafted cacti. All of the colors except for the purple would not survive on their own, but by grafting them on the green stock cactus with plenty of chlorophyll, they will not only survive but grow and produce offsets. However, grafting can be slightly difficult and compatible host plant needs to be found first. For instance, albino Haworthia would probably need a different stock plant than, say, an Echeveria. Grafting may also require some experimenting and lots of luck. From what I know, grafting albino succulents other than cacti usually has quite a low success rate. But if you are willing to take the risks and low chance of success, to have the best shot at growing an albino succulent, you will need a few things. Firstly, I would recommend getting the best potting mix for succulents you can get your hands on. Because the plant will have trouble converting sun's energy, it will greatly benefit from having all the nutrient it needs at root level. Secondly, a growing area that still has plenty of bright light but very little damaging UV can enhance the chance of the cutting surviving. In my opinion, shade cloth with a 50 to 70% shade factor will provide enough light but bounce back a lot of UV that could potentially burn the fragile leaves. The cutting should be watered when the potting mix dries up to encourage the roots and stop it from drying out. But even if you do everything right, there is a high chance a separated albino offset or a branch cutting will not make it. If your plant does make it, it will continue to need a bit of extra TLC to keep growing. Most will need a spot under a shade cloth permanently with increased shade during the summer months. To conclude, it is not advisable to try and separate albino parts in order to grow them as a separate plant. You may have a higher chance with certain plants such as Haworthia, but the odds are always stacked against you. And that's it for today. I hope you found this video useful, and if you'd like to see more succulent related content, hit the subscribe button or go to our website succulentgrowingtips.com. Thank you for watching.